The harassment campaign shows that if there is audio of you speaking available online, podcasts, streams, YouTube, you could also be a target of AI-generated voices. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Carrie Fable. I also go by Cypress. It is my dream to be an entertainer. So if you are at all entertained by this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And if you want to see more of me, I have a gaming channel with my sister, Fel Harbor. That is Tier 2 Works, and that link is also in the description. So just one little housekeeping note. I do apologize, but last week I had mentioned that I was under the weather and I'm just pushing through. Sorry if I'm loopy. Yeah, it turns out I have COVID. I know at this point, everyone's like, oh, that's old hat. Like everyone's gotten COVID. Not me. I actually lived the past 3 years having never gotten COVID. So I lost my streak. All I can say is everyone in our choir has COVID. So someone gave it to somebody there. That's really all I do because obviously you're in my office right now. So I don't really, I like self-quarantine just out of what my day job is voice acting. So I record audiobooks all day. So I'm not really out there getting exposed, except for in my hobbies. So yeah, I'm not saying someone gave it to me, but somebody gave it to me, So anyway, so if I still sound stuffy and everything, I'm just working through that, It was difficult. I guess because this is voiceover news, so what happens? So since I am a freelancer, I am my own boss, but I have clients that I, need to give things to. So one of my main clients, a lot of my clients are piecemeal, so they'll just randomly, one random Tuesday or whatever, they'll be like, hey, record this, and I'll record it to them. It's not really I can't really ever expect it and stuff, but I do have one client with whom I record a chapter of an audiobook every day because it's for an app. So I record it and edit it so that people can listen to it, and that's a happy little thing there. So luckily we are a little bit ahead of what the client, what the end client, the listener hears. But I just couldn't. It was on fire. I could not speak. It hurt to swallow. It was absolute torture. So I ended up missing a full day of work, which I was able to make up. So I am very proud of myself. I tried very hard. If you know what it's like to be that exhausted, along with having a cough and shortness of breath and sore throat, yeah, I was drinking tea and sucking on lozenges pretty nonstop there. So wasn't pretty. I'm still not completely over it. I'm still testing positive, so I am being responsible. But yeah, that's all you guys got to know is that if I sound a little bit weird or if I'm still acting loopy, I should be okay by now. My fever is gone, but I'm still an idiot, so I'm kidding. Self-love. I'm perfect. All right, let's go ahead and start. So speaking about having your voices stolen, no, not an illness, AI. That is right. Voice actors are having their voices stolen by AI. Frida Wolf, oh my gosh, she is so hot. I love her. Steve Bloom and others are calling on the community to help stop synthetic voices from dominating the voice acting industry. So, yeah, you might notice a pattern in all of my stories. This is just what is trending. This is what everyone is talking about these days. And Gizmodo is no different. So really, there's nothing new to say from what we've already talked about. It's, they specifically are talking about how they're asked to sign the voice rights away to AI voice generators when they sign for a new project. So it's kind of sneaking in their contracts. I actually had a similar thing just happen to me recently, very low scale with a client with whom I have worked since 2019 with. Unfortunately, I had to cut ties with because they insisted on having this terminology in their contract. And I said, I just cannot sign that, unfortunately. So, projects and companies are moving different ways, and it is unfortunate. Individuals and families will be affected. It is taking jobs away. And I'm not saying you should feel guilty if you use, those type of apps. Just know that when you download Jasper, I'm always getting Jasper things, but other, Lenza and stuff, those ones that like create those beautiful of, you look like an anime character or whatever, that is taking away a job of an artist. And you might not think that's true. And maybe it isn't. Maybe you wouldn't have done it if it wasn't $7 a month or whatever it is. Because I think it's a monthly thing, so it's not like that bad. I was looking at Jasper to help me write my content creation, actually, but then I actually decided against it. So, but, so I'm not saying, don't feel guilty if you put that on your profile picture, like, fine, it's fine. But if that weren't an option and you wanted a picture of yourself looking like a cartoon character, you would have found an artist to do that for you. It might have been $200 instead of the $7 like I said. But if you really wanted that, you would have looked, except that this is a cheaper, faster option. So ergo, that is literally the definition of a competition. One person that takes 2 months to make one picture for you for $200 versus a computer generated thing that you can do, I don't know if it's unlimited or even just like, let's say seven pictures for $7.99 in 2 minutes. For the cost and the value, of course they're going to go AI. But that's the thing, is that AI belongs to some rich asshole who knows how to run technology. And yes, at the end of the day, it's a person versus a person. The person built the technology that you're using. The person manually is creating the end product with which you buy. With which? I don't know. I keep saying with which. That's my thing today. With whom and with which. That's my vocal challenges today. But so like everyone has a family, everyone has a story. That's why, you always hear, arguments and stuff like that. It's your side, his side, and the truth. And no one is the villain in their own story. At the end of the day, it's not fair, unfortunately. The free market, or whatever it is called, that only means that you have the ability to stand on that platform to say, here is a picture, would you like to buy it from me? And I'm using pictures because it's a little bit easier for, again, you, the end user, to kind of see, because voiceover, again, I've said this in another video of mine before, but you guys are the end consumer of the projects, but you are not the client of voiceover projects. So you are not the ones who are saying, yes, I cast you, please do this. Unless you are like an individual who wants a voice, who wants like an automated voicemail, or you're part of the marketing, the advertising in your department, in your company. Yeah, you might be, but you are doing that for that company. Usually one-on-one people do not interact with voiceover talents unless like you're doing like a cameo, that kind of thing, where it's like, hey, can you say this, whatever, can you sign this, that kind of thing. So I like to use a different medium, art, to kind of illustrate what is literally happening with voiceover. That whole thing, that one person for the $200 versus the computer generated one, that same thing is happening in voiceover. Instead of a painting or a drawing or even a digital artwork, but made by a human, you're getting an audio wave file or, I guess that's, you're getting that synthesized voice from somebody else. And again, like I had said before, Ryan Reynolds, people now can do deep fakes because they can put his face on your face and you can sound like him. Like, if you don't see how that is innately a problem, then I don't think I can explain it to you. And of course, there are two different problems there. There's the personal problem of like erasing his identity, because that's really trippy if you think about that. I don't do drugs, but if you get stoned and think about that, let me know what your final thought process is at the end of it. But then also, legally and financially, you can't profit off of somebody else like that. There's copyrights for, written work, and even the programs that do this, the AI programs, have copyrights that protects them from getting their IP, taken and stuff. And so it's kind of like really ironic that their whole intellectual property is stealing your intellectual property. Yes, it's very interesting. So that's really all I'll say on that. So this is just from a different angle. And I know I talked on that for way too long. At this point, I just can't be sorry anymore. That is why I put timestamps. So, another one on this that I'm just going to read the main title. So if you guys want to see the article, voice actors say AI is being used to fuel a nightmarish harassment campaign. Professional and small-time broadcasters reported receiving malicious videos doxing them in their own voice while using profane language. I saw, Philip DeFranco did the same thing with Belle Delphine. And they showed how easy it is to deepfake it. It's very scary. Luckily, I have no firsthand experience with this. And that's the very real reality that I was mentioning with Ryan Reynolds. It's that whole thing. The future is now. This issue is now. Just think about how, back in the day, people would, even Photoshop or whatever images and stuff and be like, oh, this high schooler is, in this bikini photo shoot or whatever. And that would be like, people would believe it. Actually, there was a really popular case back in the day, like with like Playboy and stuff like that. It was a photographer. He would cut out normal people, no, not normal people, but the average lady, like who just wanted like a headshot for business, and then place it on these like beautiful but scantily clad dressed women and or naked women. And you could use that, you could pass that around, and then suddenly everyone thought, especially back in the day when Photoshop really wasn't, that he had to physically Photoshop, so it was like literally like cutting out the paper, and the way he was like processing it and stuff like that, they thought it was real. Well, that same thing is happening now. I'm sure you have heard of, the deep fakes of former President Barack Obama. That can be a real issue if that gets, if someone does a deep fake and releases it and says, the president, says, we're going to attack everybody. And then those countries, say, hey, whoa, and decide to attack first. This can be a very real, very dangerous thing. So not just, oh, haha, Jane Doe, someone deep faked her face, or haha, I'm pretending to be Ryan Reynolds in my kitchen. Okay, that's you're not trying to harm anybody, but that same technology can be used to do real damage. So everyone should be concerned, not just voiceovers for their career, everybody for their security. If you make an enemy and they dislike you enough, they can start making a deepfake of you and spreading a rumor around, making, really realistic looking things. Suddenly you're having an affair. Suddenly you're embezzling money. Suddenly, especially with, if you're a minor under 18, then you get into those type of stuff. It's bad. It really is. It's bad. I'll just leave it at that. It's bad. Another one, this one's from Vice. I will leave it down below, but this little snippet kind of makes it make sense. The harassment campaign shows that if there is audio of you speaking available online, podcasts, streams, YouTube, you could also be a target of AI-generated voices. So really, no one this day and age is safe. Also, once you put something out in public, it is there for life because there's, Wayback Machines. People can always download videos and stuff. So you can never really guarantee that if you erased something, it's gone forever. Chances are it really isn't. Now, again, granted, if you really don't have, you only follow your friends from school, so you only have like 20 friends on Facebook, and you posted a Facebook Live of you, again, cooking a chicken for Thanksgiving, and you delete that, probably you're safe. But it still technically can be out there in the interwebs. I don't know how that stuff works. I used to know how that stuff worked when I got paid to do that. But once I got out of internet security, I just let that leave. Yet another one. This one's from Kotaku. Here is a quote from Jennifer Hale, the prolific voice actor who plays the female version of Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect series. She wrote in a tweet, "Please do not do this, and please do not support people who do. Thank you. I mean, that's pretty much is it. Just don't do this. Yes, it's always funny to, again, I know it's for, harmless things. Like if you really love a character in a cartoon and you can deep fake them to say something that's really funny, or like ship them with two different people. Like I get the innocent fun that gets behind it, but there is a very serious, real, not only legal issue, from like that as terms of, a career, but then also just a safety issue. It just should not be a thing. And there's no way around it. So the only thing we can do is to support one another and just vow that we won't use that kind of stuff. All right, moving this a little bit along on a different thing. I love podcasts and I love video games. And so everyone who knew me for the past, since COVID, I would on Saturday mornings get my coffee, set up my Animal Crossing, and listen to true crime podcasts while I farmed and stuff. So I actually found this is a Yahoo listicle, 15 video games to play mindlessly while you binge a podcast. So that link is in the description below if you are looking for just some fun, mindless fun. Yeah, there you go. That's a decent happy news, right? It's neutral. In video game science news, there's an ad. I can't read my thing. Kids who play hours of video games each day test the same as non-players. So playing video games is not detrimental. Obviously, everything in moderation. I will say that. I am a firm believer in that. But there actually have been studies that have proven that playing certain video games actually helps with hand-eye coordination and logistics thinking. And that's kind of strategic, like just puzzle solving, and it actually is really beneficial. So worst case scenario, it does nothing bad. Best case scenario, it actually helps children grow those very important skill sets. Yeah, again, moderation. But just like reading is really good for you, don't sit in a corner and read for 23 hours a day. Go out and get some sunlight. Just like playing outside and having sports and doing that and having sports, whatever. Can you tell I've had sports? But yeah, if you work out too much, you'll pull tendons and you'll just get exhausted and you'll burn yourself out. If you spend too much time in the sun, you'll get a sunburn. Everything in moderation. But as long as you moderate it, and as long as you are getting your homework done and still keeping up your social, responsibilities, video games are fine for your child. All right, this one is about ChatGPT. So if you didn't know, that is just another AI thing, which helps with like learning and everything. So apparently ChatGPT is being used in video games now already. So Microsoft was integrating it with Bing. And so there was some controversy there. To be quite honest, I am not really keeping up with that. I also don't know, is ChatGPT, is that sans kind of like synthetic voiceover, like it's generic, or because that sounds like a brand to me. I don't know. I don't honestly care. I'll put the answer here. I'll Google it, but I don't feel like doing it, anyway. But yeah, so this whole integration thing is starting with the new NetEase title, Justice Online Mobile. It's an MMO. And so Daniel Ahmed, the analyst for Nico Partners, says, with generative AI being all over the headlines these days, NetEase, up here it looked like NetEase. NetEase. I know. Okay. Wow. Okay. COVID brain. NetEase says it'll launch the first game version of ChatGPT in Justice Online Mobile, its upcoming MMO title. It'll allow players to chat with NPCs and have them react in unique ways that impact the game. Through AI tech, it would create conversations that are fully voiced, emotive, and impactful. For example, you could tell a character their house is on fire and they'd rush home. Or you could cause a rift between two NPCs that are in love. Players could use text or voice inputs. So, it goes. This article goes into a little bit more of the game functionality of, there's always that programmed, like you could say this to get this outcome, but what about the real things that are unpredictable? I am torn. As a consumer, as a video game player, all aboard the train, the hype train. Woohoo! My brain just killed a few brain cells. Anyway, that sounds so cool to be that immersed and to actually have those conversations. I am getting a little bit reminiscent of like the movie like Her, where like the guy falls, in love with his Siri. I mean, can you imagine being in game, making your character look exactly how you feel like you want to be represented in game, and then, finding the sweet flower girl, and having unique conversations with her and falling in love or just being friends. Like, that could also be very dangerous, but also be really, really cool. Or even like a game, like that, like with MMOs and stuff, like really be connected with your village to say, hey, Phil, and Phil says hi back to you. And, like that's amazing. On the other hand, obviously, this is using synthetic AI voices for, because it's not scripted. These things are unpredictable. So it can come back to you and give you, voice that, so are these people going to be fairly compensated for this? No. Can you download all of the voice, chat lines, voice lines that they insert into the game and steal that actor's voice? 100%. So again, that on that side, I'm like, ooh, that's not cool. But the capability is an amazing idea. So I'll just leave that there because I feel like a hypocrite. I can't really back it because I know what that's doing to my, colleagues in the industry. But as a science, as a concept, I hope this is really not choppy. I am coughing through the entire thing, but I hope I am able to cut this so you can't tell. I apologize. But yeah, it's just difficult. The final one I want to say, yes, it's about Genshin Impact, but I'm not going to talk about the main issue. I'm going to talk about an additional issue on it. So this is a tweet from @Genshin Impact. Dear travelers, after communications with the voice recording agency, we hereby confirm that Elliot Gindi, is it Gindi? The English voice actor for Tighnari will no longer be voicing the character in subsequent versions due to a breach of contract. At present, we are communicating with the voice recording agency regarding matters of casting and re-recording. We will gradually replace, is it Tighnari? Tighnari? I'll just say Tighnari because it looks like Tighnari, even though it would be T in Japanese. But the GH isn't really something they have. If my 2 years of Japanese language 7 years ago is anything to go on, I don't know. I'll say Tighnari. Tighnari sounds better. Existing in-game voice lines and issues these updates in the corresponding announcements. Thank you for your support, travelers. So, my, obviously, Elliot Gindi, being replaced, 100% support. I wanted to address the concept and the idea of re-recording, so kind of erasing him from Genshin Impact so that Tighnari, the character, will never have Elliot's voice again. Obviously, again, like I said earlier, this video, once things are out public, you'll never be able to erase them completely. But, box sets, Blu-rays, collections, that kind of stuff, for them to re-release it with a different voice, so that newer viewers, fans, will not experience Elliot as Tighnari. That is huge. And it's very commendable on the company side because that's expensive. Now, granted, dubbing voice actors do not get paid the same rates as other industry, voice actors, other genres in the industry. That actually is a big contention point that they, dubbing voice actors are fighting for better rates. Especially the union does not. I'll keep my mouth shut on that, but yeah, they're not looking to help. And so, yes, it's not as big as recasting Elmo, was. But that is still an expense for them to have to go back in. And not just rehiring the voice actor, but also getting, either expensive in time or in payment, getting, the casting director to then, the sound engineer and the casting director, everybody on the team to get back there to re-record. So the actual voice actor, yes, and then using that voice, those wavelengths in the audio, cleaning it up, re-putting it in the anime, like realigning it and making sure everything fits. This is also why they do it in studio, in location, so that they can make sure, the levels match completely and stuff. And of course, they are professionals. They'll do it, but that's the thing is you have to pay someone to do that. So putting their money where their mouth is and saying, hey, we do not condone these actions. This is not representative of us as a production company. And, Genshin Impact as a series, that is very commendable. That is amazing. And it's more than most things do. However, on the other side, I always feel at some point you have to separate the artist with the art. Voice acting is only a fraction of what it takes to bring a character to life. There's the script writer, there's the animator, and all of the back-end team of that too. So it's not just one person, but, I'm just naming these different functionalities, right? So Tighnari was drawn by a group of people, was written by a few people, and then, of course, animated it all together. And he's just one character in, the whole series. So at some point, it's no longer Elliot and his voice, especially with this, specifically this, okay? So it's not every case, but in the case of Genshin Impact, you do not get paid residuals. You get paid, let's just keep money very simple. You get paid $100 every time you go into your booth, right, to record. So if there's 100 episodes, he got $1,000. No, $10,000. 100 episodes at $100 is $10,000. That's all. That's all. And again, I'm saying that's not what the agreement is. I'm just simplifying things in money terms. If Genshin, or let's change it, right? Let's say the cartoon. Okay, the cartoon casts me, Carrie Favel, as main character. Ooh, cool, thanks. So Carrie Favel gets paid $100 an episode. It doesn't matter if the cartoon is watched by a single person or is a global phenomenon and gets subtitled because they love the English so much that they don't even dub it over. So China, India, everybody is getting Carrie Favel as main character. Carrie Favel only got paid $100 for that episode. Does not matter. One viewer, global reach, $100. Okay, so there are no residuals. Then if you're going to make a box set, a special collection box set, and you sell that, no money. I still only made $100 on that one episode. Okay, so to then be like, well, we don't support him, so we're going to recast him. He's already been paid for what he did and what he gave to Genshin Impact. His voice he's already been word I can't think of right now. Compensated, whatever. He's already gotten it. Okay, boycotting the series now will literally do nothing to him because he will never have gotten paid residuals. If they made, I really hope Genshin Impact is an anime at this point. I've talked about it so much. I don't think it's a video game. I don't really know of a time where animated characters. Now it does happen because I've heard, Rob Paulson, he says, he loves getting, he'll get, when shows are syndicated, he would get checks, in the mail from what he's done. So yes, voice actors can, especially if you're in the union. But dubbing voice actors, I 100% guarantee he is not getting anything more than whatever they paid him to go into the studio. Now, that might have been, usage rights and fees or whatever. But no, it's also in perpetuity as well. So that means that, that series, they always have the rights. So, for example, if you record a radio commercial for Starbucks, they'll pay you and they'll say for 3 months usage. So they can use your voice for those 3 months in that commercial. If they're like, wow, that commercial did great, I want to use that for another 3 months, then they have to pay 3 more months for usage of that voice that has already been recorded. So the talent does not have to go back into the studio to re-record. They want to use the same commercial, but they only agreed that that commercial would last for 3 months, and now they're extending it another 3 months. That does not happen with anime or cartoons and that kind of thing. Again, I don't know about necessarily the union rates, like Simpsons and stuff like that. Like, they're making a lot of bank. But I do know with dubbing voice acting specifically, because I've looked into it, that is not where the money is, trust me. And honestly, that's not even where in the industry that you get all that much respect. It's really, really kind of ironic. But yeah, so it does nothing to him. So it's only the studio, the company that is saying we don't want him attached. So that is a really interesting concept to me that they are going through that. I'm sure that has happened in the past. I just can't think of any time that has happened. Certainly is very rare. For example, with Rick and Morty, they're recasting, but they're not going back and re-editing those cartoons, which I don't know how that legality will work, because once you get separated, once you break that tie, do you still get the residuals from before? I don't know, honestly, how that works. So that is a different case. But that was just interesting. So I just wanted to bring it up that way. I didn't want to bring up the actual scandal. I just wanted to bring up the facts of how they're proceeding. And that's really interesting. Yeah, I'm very interested in it, though. So please comment down below if you have ever heard of that, if you have any opinions on that, especially if you don't agree. Maybe I'm missing something. Please be kind, but totally tell me if you disagree. But yeah, I feel my brain dwindling, so I must flee now. Yes. Okay. So, yeah. Remember, you are loved, you are worthy, and whatever you are struggling with today will pass. Until next time, stay crazy.